The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, Zacc, is politically hamstring to arrest Deputy Health Minister John Mangwiro after he allegedly coerced state-owned medical supplies entity Natpharm to award an inflated $5.6 million COVID-19 tender to a Chinese company in which he had a personal interest in 2020 because of the influence of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. The Newshawks, in partnership with Transparency International Zimbabwe, is following up on the use of COVID-19 funds in the interest of transparency and accountability. Mangwiro is Chiwenga's political ally and his personal doctor. He was on Chiwenga's side as he battled a life-threatening illness in China before making a stunning recovery following life-saving surgery at a top military hospital in Beijing in 2019. Chiwenga and his allies, however, believe Mangwiro is being targeted as part of a ploy to go after the vice president's allies, while also roping in the vice president in the corruption scandal. Despite Zacc investigators doing investigations and producing a report which implicates Mangwiro and suggests he acted to serve his personal interest at the expense of national interests by forcing Natpharm to award Young Healthcare Limited the tender, nothing has happened because of the political implications. Chiwenga has flexed his muscle and Zacc has been forced to retreat, an official close to the case said. The merits or demerits of the case do not matter at this point. Politics is now at play. Zacc had recommended that Mangwiro be further investigated before being arrested and prosecuted over the matter. There has, however, not been any movement since 2020. Specifically, Zacc recommended that Mangwiro be charged for criminal abuse of office. Asked for an update on the Mangwiro case, Zacc chairperson Lois Matanda Moyo declined to comment, saying she was on leave. Zacc spokesperson John McAmere was neither answering phone calls nor responding to text messages. He read his WhatsApp message but did not respond to the Newshawks. Mangwiro intervened after Natpharm had blocked the company in which he had an undeclared interest from getting a tender to supply vital COVID-19 materials. This even after Young Healthcare had reduced its inflated quote by a staggering $2.6 million. After an investigation, Zacc recommended that Mangwiro, Chiwenga's deputy and his personal physician, be investigated and prosecuted for criminal abuse of office. The actions of the deputy minister signal a personal interest in the tender, and this should have prompted him to declare his interest, a stinging internal Zacc memo leaked to online media said after a review of tender Nat TCBFWWK04 2020 for the supply of laboratory equipment, reagents and consumables for COVID-19 to Natpharm. Sources told the Newshawks in November 2020 that Zacc was at the time pressuring the Procurement Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe, PRAZ, officials to say that Mangwiro was acting under instruction from Chiwenga while he was in China over the corrupt deal. What is happening here is this: Zacc and Saku think that Chiwenga is the one behind Mangwiro in the deal. Their story is that when Chiwenga was in China he brokered the deal and then assigned Mangwiro to execute, a source told the Newshawks. They say Chiwenga wanted to bring the supplies through Mangwiro from China, where he had gone for medical review, but since it was urgent they decided to send a plane to deliver instead of waiting for him to bring the materials, which they initially thought of. For that to happen, Mangwiro had to prevail over Natpharm to give Young Healthcare a supply contract. That's where the PRAZ people come into the equation over adjudication. In a bid to get his way, Mangwiro became desperate and even called them during awkward times like around 10 p.m. to secure the tender. They say this was because he was under pressure from his own boss, Chiwenga. Now Zacc wants PRAZ officials to say that Chiwenga was involved, that he is the principal in the deal and Mangwiro is just a runner. According to Zacc's investigation findings over the tender, carried out between August 31 and September 4, 2020, one of the Health Ministry's directors, Dr. Gibson Mlanga, then acting Health Secretary, wrote to Nat Farm on 15 July 2020, instructing the company to make direct procurements of supplies from Young Healthcare. Zacc said this was in violation of PRA's Circular 1 of 2020, which decrees that only PRA's listed suppliers are sources of COVID-19 supplies. Initial quotation by Young Healthcare for supply of commodities under direct procurement, where prices quoted by Young Healthcare Limited were exorbitant, amounted to $5.6 million, which was coincidentally the same amount that was in the ministry coffers, suggesting that the company had inside information, the Zacc report said. Zacc said after Nat Farm insisted on a competitive bidding process, Mangwiro, a medical doctor appointed to deputy minister in September 2018, demanded that the tender be delayed to allow Young Healthcare to register with PRAS. When Nat Farm insisted on competitive bidding, Young Healthcare Limited subsequently submitted a bid price of $3.6 million for the same items. This saw a reduction of 36% in the price, the report said. Zacc said when the emergency 48-hour tender was finally floated on 5 August and closed on 7 August, 22 bidders including Young Healthcare Limited made bids. Young Healthcare, according to the Zacc probe, missed out on the tender. Zacc, citing the then acting Nat Farm managing director Zelis Nyabadze, said this angered Mangwiro, who summoned the company's top managers late at night to explain why the tender was not awarded to Young Healthcare Limited. The deputy minister also demanded that a purchase order be issued that same night. The adjudication team was picked from their homes around 10 p.m. and were interrogated by Mangwiro until the early hours of the following day. The deputy minister threatened the team with dismissal for failing to award Young Healthcare the contracts, the report said. Zacc also found that Young Healthcare had also been given a purchase order by Nat Farm for nucleic acid, purification machines, transport media and reagents. After delivering on 2 of the 4 purification machines and about 6% of the other 2 orders, the company reportedly requested an advance contrary to the terms and conditions of the contract signed with Nat Farm, which stipulates that payment should be made 7 days after delivery. The equipment received by Nat Farm was worth US $124,630.40. Mangwiro insisted in prepayment and tasked the technical team from Nat Farm procurement to visit Young Healthcare Limited and their country office and verify available stock, in order to compel the Nat Farm acting MD to make a prepayment to Young Healthcare Limited, the report said. The verification team found that items amounting to US $127,643.20 were in stock instead of the US $922,000 requested for prepayment. In the end, Zacc said Mangwiro's alleged actions violated the evaluation process since the technical team did not have the mandate to carry out the verification of supplies. Nyabadze wrote to the Health Ministry Permanent Secretary Jasper Chimedzev on 26 August 2020 informing him of the prepayment issue and seeking guidance on how to proceed, but received no reply, prompting him to decline taking Mangwiro's instruction to prepay Young Healthcare. Given the extent to which the deputy minister was involved in the said tender process, indications are that he was acting in his own capacity and not on behalf of the ministry. The conduct of the deputy minister during this tender process warrants further investigations for criminal abuse of office for possible violation of Section 174 of the Criminal Law Codification Act CHAPTER 923, the report said. Apart from this provision, Further investigations should be conducted to ascertain possible violation of Section 14 of the Public Finance Management Act (CHAPTER 2219) by the Deputy Minister through giving ministerial directives having financial implications when he demanded prepayment of undelivered goods to Young Healthcare. There is need for further investigations into the possible violation of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act Chapter 2223, as the conduct of the Deputy Minister might have compromised the independence of NatFarm.